Natalie here. Welcome to FrancoFoods. Today, I am making a very Canadian treat, butter tarts. I've been in a baking mood lately and, believe it or not, I've never made these before, so I figure no time like the present. First step, making the pie dough. You can use any recipe you like. I'm using my mom's, but instead of using only shortening, I'm doing a 50-50 of butter and shortening. Just a question of personal preference. You know, I remember watching my mom make pie dough, pie crust. She used a dough blender, and I've seen others use that. I've seen people use 2 knives or even a large fork to cut the fat into the flour, right, to blend it. I've tried all these techniques, but for me, I guess I'm a hands-on kind of person. I much prefer the rubbing method with my fingers and whatnot. It's what works best for me anyways, and again, personal preference. Now, growing up in Quebec, I don't really remember butter tarts. I ate tarte au sucre. The first time I do remember eating a butter tart was when I was living in Ontario. That said, imagine my surprise when researching for this episode, I found out that the butter tart's origin is connected with les filles du roi. While the dough is resting in the fridge, I'm going to make the filling. As you can see, it's a very simple recipe and technique. No need for any special tools, and with a little bit of planning to make sure your ingredients are at the correct temperatures, it's pretty fast as well. I have a feeling that I'm going to be getting a lot of requests by my family once they realize how fast I can make these. So for those of you who do not know the history of Quebec and Canada, from 1663 to 1673, King Louis XIV sent about 800 young French women to New France to encourage the men that were already there to marry and settle. I guess you could say this was the French king's colonization plan. So these young women, they had to adapt their cooking and baking to the ingredients that were available. Amongst those creations were a sweet pie that wound up being the precursor to what would become the butter tart. This week's vocab is la graisse végétale, le sirop de maïs, la friandise, le dessert, délicieux, délicieuse. Quel est votre dessert préféré? The dough is ready to be rolled out. I'm going to try to be even throughout so that the tarts do bake evenly. So, although the butter tart's origin is from Quebec, it seems that the first time that a recipe was published for it was in Ontario. There was a Women's Auxiliary of Royal Victoria Hospital cookbook, and this hospital is located in Barrie, Ontario. And the person who did write the recipe actually also added currants in the filling, which kind of, I don't know about you, but I always felt that currants, raisins, and sultanas are basically the same thing, but apparently not. So, I don't know. I kind of picked the cutters a little bit too small. Oh, yeah, this one works. Now, just have to split the filling between the shells. Okay, time to put these in the oven for about 20 minutes. I want the center of the tart to be just set, and you'll see it'll get all bubbly. While that's baking, I'm going to use the remainder of my dough. I've got some fluted tart pans I've been wanting to use, and well, this seems like the perfect opportunity. I'm going to blind bake them, and then I'm going to use the pie shells, the blind baked pie shells, another day. Funny enough, it seems there's quite a debate about butter tarts with raisins or without raisins. It's apparently quite a heated discussion in certain forums. For me, I'm partial to no raisins. Not that I dislike the raisins, it's just a personal preference. I asked my husband, who did grow up in Ontario, and he said he remembers mainly eating it with raisins, but like me, he'll take it or leave it, he'll eat either. So I'm not going to get into a debate, but I would like to hear from you in the comments. Are you team raisins or no raisins? Okay, they look ready. I'm going to let them cool just a bit before I take them out of the pan. I don't want to let them fully cool in the molds because I'm kind of nervous that the filling would harden up on the sides and make it difficult, and I don't want them to break. Okay, good. Now I'm going to leave them on the cooling rack for a little bit longer so they fully set before I bite into them. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. and they look ready to me. The dough is cooked through and through, and look, you can even see some of the layers. Should be pretty nice and flaky. That is a nice butter tart. Okay, let's look at the blind baked shells. Well, it looks like I might have undercooked them a little bit, but I'm not too worried about it because I'll figure something out to do with them. All in all, I think the butter tarts were a success. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and we'll give these a try. Merci et à la prochaine!